Resident Evil 4 came out over 15 years ago, and tons of people consider it their favorite game ever made. And yet I've somehow managed to never play it. Until now. So I'm gonna play through the game, give my impressions, and see if Resident Evil 4 lives up to the hype. Spoilers incoming. I started by putting the most ridiculous looking sunglasses on Leon, turning Ashley into a total babe, and jumping into a police car con mis amigos. Well, first we need to witness a cult-like sacrifice. I didn't know what to expect, but this scene set my expectations spot on with what I was gonna be dealing with. We get a little background on Leon reflecting on his past, I don't know, some place called Raccoon City that changed his life. And he was forced to join some top secret government agency that he didn't seem to like too much. And he's carrying around a picture of, oh no, am I playing Halo Infinite again? Just chasing a girl around for 8 hours? So now we're actually con mis amigos. Hola tío. The police are tasked with helping us search for a girl, but obviously we need to pull over to take the piss. Classic horror trope, one guy running off in the woods on his own. But honestly, I respect it, my guy. The world is my bathroom. Obviously he never comes back, so we go looking for him and it's finally time to play. This is where I noticed the weird controls. Originally this was gonna be my first ever Resident Evil experience. However, before I got around to playing RE4, I actually co-opted Resident Evil 5 with a friend. I was confused since neither of us were playing as the Resident Evil guy, but now we are, so I guess all is good. The point is, I got a feel for the Resident Evil control scheme, so I was somewhat prepared. But these are a little different. I mean, right bumper to sprint? Who does that shit? Anyway, we make it to a totally normal looking cabin in the woods. We barge right in and find our first zombie? Infected? What do us Resident Evil players call these things? He tries pulling a fast one, but luckily I'm the main character, so I take care of him and push on to the basement. We find Theo and hear our other amigo screaming through the walkie-talkie. Leon murmurs, "What's going on?" to himself as if we aren't on the 4th game in the franchise, and conveniently find the master plans plastered on the wall. We radio into Roos with a sit rep where we find out we're searching for the president's daughter. Thank God we aren't chasing down an ex-lover. It's just the daughter of the most powerful person in the world. Leon's a man of business, not pleasure. Doesn't make sense that the US government sent in one man when we have the biggest military to ever exist, but okay. We get interrupted and jump out the window. I guess that military program taught us parkour, just jumping out a 2nd-story window without a second thought. We run off and come across a village where we find our only living friend being burned alive. For my first time, I was really struggling at this part. There were so many enemies and it seemed like no matter how many I killed, just more came. Eventually I figured out I was supposed to make it to the end of the village to trigger the chainsaw guy and then just survive for a bit until the church bell rings, calling everyone to the church. And it seems like we finished the prologue. So far this was not what I was expecting from this game. I wanted to play Resident Evil 4 after recently playing Dead Space for the first time and really loving that unique experience. But I feel like Dead Space had a lot more of a horror tone. Enemies were sparse and I feel like you only got a handful at a time at most. But in this village, there were so many enemies. It makes RE4 feel more action-y than survival horror. I realized I was supposed to be overwhelmed here since I wasn't supposed to actually take them all out. And I'm not saying it's a good or bad thing. It's just not what I expected with Dead Space being inspired by Resident Evil 4. But I'll have more comparisons later on. Anyways, we're off to the lake. We get ambushed by a dude wearing a cow head and run into countless bear traps while trying to avoid sticks of dynamite. Jesus, these explosives are annoying. I finally take them out and a little too willingly jump into a cellar in some lake house. Here we meet Hermano, who was bagged and tagged, and just as we're about to help him, the Undertaker shows up. He yeets us to the moon and injects us with what I can only assume is zombie semen. We either receive some sort of telepathic message or we just have a nightmare, and wake up chained to Hermano like we're in the next Saw movie. As we try and struggle our way out of the trap, Hermano introduces himself as Luis Serra and deducts that we're here looking for a girl. Does he know more than he's letting on or just a lucky guess? I mean, bitches make us do crazy shit, and honestly, for what other reason would you willingly drive into some sort of zombie apocalypse? He says he heard they're moving a young girl and thinks she may have been taken to the church. We get the chain free from the ceiling, use the power of friendship to kill the guard, and Luis frees himself with the key and skedaddles. At least he threw the key back, but not until he had time to run for it. We call in our info to the boss and ask her to run a background check on our new friend. We buy a new gun from this mysterious merchant who just seems to be everywhere in this game, and head out for the church. I finally clear out a pretty large area and hit my first puzzle wall. I could not figure out what to do. We opened the gate back to where we came from, but once I got to this door, I couldn't figure out what to do. It seems like I had the key, but none of the directions seemed to work. After running around for 5 minutes, I look it up and just realize I'm a moron. You can flip the bird key around. I know this is my fault, but I really dislike the feeling of not knowing where to go. Especially considering I was going the right way, but didn't realize the item could be flipped. I'm sure anyone watching this is like, it's not the game's fault, you're bad, idiot. And yeah, I guess. But as someone playing this game for the first time, I literally have no idea what I'm doing. I guess I just need to train my brain to play this game. So now I'm pissed off running to the church, and god damn it, if I step in one more of these bear traps, I'm gonna cut off my legs. Now that I'm a paraplegic, I finally make it into the Undertaker's house. I have to look up another puzzle to get this glowing orb, and I actually use the orb to open the door all on my own. See, I'm learning. We find a key to the gate out front, and the Undertaker shows up wondering why we're going through his panty drawer. He mentions our blood accepted the gift, so I guess we're gonna be a zombie soon too. But before he can cause any more damage, some badass bitch shows up and shoots his hat off through the window. The Undertaker hits us with the chokeslam, and then he just leaves? I'm sure that won't come back to bite him later. Chapter 3 opens up with a call from the boss with intel on Luis Serra. Apparently he was a researcher for Umbrella, which I know was part of the older games that I haven't played. I guess that means he's a bad guy. But enough horsing around, we have church to attend. We leave the house and see a poor little doggo stuck in a bear trap. I feel your pain, my guy. You're better off just cutting off your legs. We save the day and continue on back to the village. A random explosion goes off, blocking our path, and we get ambushed by some infected dogs. We commit euthanasia and unlock the door to the building I thought was the church. Nope, just a different building for satanic rituals. We dap up our favorite sales guy and finally make it to the church. But as always, it's never that easy. It looks like we need some weird looking key. This girl better be worth it. We stumble upon a map and a message saying the key's on the other side of the lake. Why wouldn't you just keep the key on you? The other side of the lake? Bro, I can't swim. Luckily I took 4 years of Spanish, so I was able to translate this sign. And on our way, we deal with a ton of more of these stupid dynamite guys. We spot a monster-sized hammer, bow chicka bow wow, and hear something big behind this wall, obviously foreshadowing a large boss coming up. We find El Lago and get to watch locals feeding their pet whale. We stumble upon a fortress seemingly created to defend the only can of gas on this entire island, and more people show up to try and stop me from getting away with it. This boat looks like it needs more than just some gas, but we started on just 2 poles, and we're ready to cross the lake. Damn it, looks like we should have checked the oil before we left. Leon ain't no mechanic. But luckily it seems that spearfishing is one of his favorite hobbies, because the whale comes for us and we harpoon that thing like we've lived our entire life as some sort of nomad. I just wanted to mention here that the graphics for this remake have been really good, and I've had no complaints, until this fight. This water just looks like I'm playing the 2005 version at times. But anyway, we throw one last harpoon into its blowhole and take a well-deserved nap in the boat. We get some more telepathic messages from the Pope and magically start the boat up again on the second pole. I guess it just overheated. We make it to the other side and get our first look at one of the head guys. Not sure if there's a name for them, but I've settled on head guy. Leon calls him a twisty son of a bitch. I got a kick out of that. Then we stumble upon some sort of shrine. It looks like we found the key to the church, but now we need 2 keys to unlock the key. At least they had the courtesy of painting us a treasure map. We cross the lake again and X marks the spot. But time for another puzzle. This one wasn't too difficult and I solved it without having to look it up. Okay, it took me a bit, but only because the symbols are all pretty similar. We take the statue's head and we're off for the other. This one took me a little longer to find all the symbols, but 2 for 2 without cheating. We crack the code and steal what we need. The locals must have figured out what we were up to because they try and stop us from leaving. But we make quick work from them and head to the shrine. We offer up the 2 heads and finally unlock the key. Sheesh, they put a lot of work into locking this church up. I walk in circles a couple times and then start backtracking to the church. It was seemingly pretty quiet until, damn it, I knew that was gonna happen. Looks like Sloth from the Goonies showed up. I wasn't making much headway until the worm inside him decided to flop out, and an old friend decided to repay his debt. The doggo created enough of a distraction for us to get some clear shots on the worm, and we've taken out another boss. I stopped to say thank you, but couldn't pet the dog, what the hell, Leon, and let myself into the church. We have another puzzle that I couldn't figure out until I looted around and realized I was missing a piece. This one wasn't my fault. That was a very intricate way to open up the upstairs. I call out for Ashley and she tries to beat my ass with Lumiere and runs away until she realizes I'm on her team. What the hell, girl? We have a village after us and we're gonna need each other to survive. Leon shows off his parkour ability again, off screen this time, and Rapunzel jumps down into our arms. We're slowly putting in that trabajo with the president's daughter and it's totally gonna work. We let the boss know we found Ashley and she sends us an extraction point. Chopper inbound. Wow, that was quick. We secured the bag and now all we have to do is get off the island, right? We completed our objective and it's gonna be smooth sailing from here, right? Well, the Pope called the entire congregation to the church to stop us from taking the girl. So we slowly take out a few stragglers and sneakily backtrack the way we came. Until we get to a bridge where apparently everyone agreed to ambush us. Luckily, Luis decides to lend a helping hand. Leon was still upset he left us in the dust earlier, but we don't have time to chat. We stick Ashley in a hole in the wall and it's time to fight. Now this is the point where I realize that this game is really nothing like Dead Space. This section is like a tower defense mode. I feel like I'm playing the original World at War zombies. You can block the windows, board them up, and it's just all out chaos. There are tons of enemies you have to take down, and I died plenty of times. The reason I bring this up is that I wanted to play this game because multiple people told me, oh, you love Dead Space? You need to play Resident Evil 4. But the thing I loved about Dead Space was the tension it created. It set a much more horror tone in my opinion. Enemies were used sparingly, and it set the tension because you could hear them coming, but you had no idea where they were going to pop out. That butt-puckering suspense along with never having enough ammo and the stress of trying to hit precise shots in the limbs was such a perfect package to get my adrenaline flowing.
Might be our last hope.
But with this, I feel like they throw so many enemies at you that it doesn't hit the same. I see so many enemies that I'm not afraid of them. They're just cannon fodder. I'm not saying that RE4 should be more like Dead Space. I know it came first and was the inspiration for Dead Space. And I'm not hating on Resident Evil 4 for being different, but I definitely prefer the approach of Dead Space. I actually felt like a lone engineer trying to survive by collecting scraps and barely scraping by. But so far in RE4, I just feel like I'm the main character in a video game. And just to clarify, this is just how I feel the game's gone so far. I'm not sitting here counting enemies in each game like, look how many more there are here. I'm waiting for someone in the comments to count them both out and prove that you fight a similar number in both games. Like, I don't know, bro, I feel way more like an action hero than someone trying to survive right now. It's just how the game comes across to me. I came into this playthrough completely blind with no idea what to expect. With that being said, I am still really enjoying RE4 at this point. It's just not the game I expected. Anyway, after a solid 4 or 5 attempts, we don't even take everyone out, but we do enough to trigger a cutscene. Ashley to the rescue. Not sure how she got out of the hole in the wall we blocked, But she leads us out of the house and we shoot the chain holding the drop door up, saving us from our pending doom. Well, one crisis leads to another as Ashley shows signs of being infected. She's infected with La Plaga and is slowly turning into one of the infected. But luckily, Hermano has a plan. He had the plague too, and he can save her. We just need to trust him. He then refuses to answer any of our questions, which doesn't come across very trustworthy, and runs off to talk to the girl that saved us earlier. She asks for the amber, not sure if I'm supposed to know what that is at this point from previous games, but he says he hid it right before he got caught. The conversation is a little ambiguous, so I can't tell if we can trust Luis yet, but he's our only hope to save Leon and Ashley from an infection, so I guess we have no choice. Then we get a call from the boss lady letting us know the storm is too bad to fly a chopper in. I'm sure this is just a minor hiccup for our escape, and we try to find someplace safe to escape the bad weather. We take a slight detour to get a bigger case and almost immediately fail at stealthily taking out the enemies ahead. I get caught in another bear trap, I really thought I was done with these, and get locked out by another door that needs a special key. Before we continue looking for it, we stuff Ashley in a locker like we're her high school bully, and just as we find what we needed, we get jumped by two blind old ladies wielding chainsaws. We funnel everyone down a narrow walkway and go to town on the undead. We grab what we need and crank that soldier boy to the next area. The Undertaker shows up out of nowhere and locks us in. I thought I was supposed to fight him, but apparently we just need to run, so I don't even bother shooting. I'm fast as fuck, boy! The bridge collapses and apparently that's enough to stop this dude that seemingly conjures up out of nowhere. I stop to grab a new shotty and then look who's back. We tell Ashley to run so she doesn't have to see him turn into whatever you'd call this thing, and it's time to battle in a burning barn. I cheese my way around for a bit and take out the fake Spider-Man. I honestly thought this dude was the main villain in the story, so I was surprised that I killed him in Chapter 6. I'm obviously pretty clueless when it comes to this franchise because this happens a couple more times. Ashley saves the day once again and we make our way into the castle. I'm sure this is a completely safe place to bunker up for the night. Although it doesn't look like it's even raining anymore, can't Roos just send in that chopper? We have Ashley, come get us. On our way in, we catch up on the phone with Luis and he offers us medicine to slow the infection. We just need to meet him in the courtyard. We fight through crossbow enemies shooting fire arrows and a few trebuchets. I mean, what else would you use to defend a castle? But fortunately for us, cannon beats trebuchet. We also use it to take out the door and then send one at a zealot for good measure. Time to infiltrate the castle. As we enter, we're introduced to now who I assume is the main villain of the story, a Napoleon Bonaparte look-alike who goes by Ramon. He somehow already knows our name and demands we hand over the only reason we showed up to this island in the first place. Fat chance, bro. I'm not following the logic, but apparently Ashley is the key to infecting the United States and then the entire world? I mean, I guess it's the president's daughter, so once she's infected, she can infiltrate the country. It's not like she wouldn't be allowed back. But if that was the plan, wouldn't he just let me take her home? Their plan doesn't seem well thought out. He also mentions his master, Lord Sadler, so watching this back, I guess I should have known Ramon is not the main villain. He sends his goonies after us, now equipped with shields, but a well-placed grenade is enough to take them out. We tag team the wall so Ashley can unlock the door and we slip our way underground. We hear some scary sounding thing and quickly fall through the floor. I wonder what's down here. Jesus Christ, dude. Thank God they sewed your eyes shut. Apparently the sound of me falling through the floor got him riled up enough to break the chains holding him to the wall. And now my cheeks are clenched. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I was looking for from this game. I try and open this gate without making too much noise, but who the hell put these chains here? I throw a flashbang, which miraculously still works on someone who doesn't have eyes to see the flash. I guess the bang still works though? And I open the gate and run through. I climb up the ladder, but I have a sneaking suspicion this isn't the last we've seen of him. We shine a flashlight into Ashley's face without any regard for her eyesight, and we have another puzzle to solve. I figured this one out without looking it up, but admittedly, I had a little help from Ashley. We swap some swords around and keep working our way through the castle. Ramon taunts us on the loudspeaker, and then we get ambushed again by his lackeys. A few deaths later, and we finally take them all out. We go up a few floors, and now it's Ashley's turn to pull her weight. We give her a boost and have to defend her while she gets the hidden bridge up. It's a little stressful having to shoot the enemies going after her while also having guys sneak up on me, but that's why they brought in a professional. I feel like missions in games where you need to escort someone is always annoying, but I genuinely haven't had an issue dealing with Ashley as of yet. She can't defend herself, but she helps us unlock doors and kinda feels like part of the team more than just a liability I'm towing around. At least this far, we'll see if that changes. We make it to the courtyard, and just when things seem to be going smoothly, Ashley seems to have a little episode. The infection's getting worse, and the hive mind is able to take control of her for a bit. She tries to stab us, then threatens to stab herself before the gate closes and blocks us off. She snaps out of it, and instead of trying to get back to us, she just runs off. Awesome. We lost the only thing we're here for. But no worries, I'm sure that's the only time that'll happen, and this isn't a recurring theme. We have to tell the boss the bad news, but thankfully we have a bad connection. Back to square one, time to find Ashley. But first, time to buy a new sniper. We barge in on the Colt and find out that the goat heads can make the infected's heads explode. I guess that saves me a step. We take out a ton of enemies and then run in circles for a while until we finally figure out where to go. We end up in a room that seems like someone's been in, and Ada pulls a gun on us. Is she on our side or not? I literally have no idea. But she's working with Luis and we need his help. She also saved our life, but we clearly have a history. We have a little hand-to-hand combat for a bit and then we're both just like, yeah, I'm done. She tells us to leave the girl, but doesn't really give us a reason why. And then we need to figure out this door. I find all the pieces but could not get the door to open. It seems simple enough, but after 5 minutes of struggling, I just looked it up. 2 thumbs down from me. We get introduced to a new spider-looking enemy and end up back outside. Ramon taunts us on the loudspeaker again, and I struggle my way through various one-way open doors. The handles would open one door and close another, so I needed the right combination to finally get through. It was a slog, but I slowly worked my way through it. Time for another one of these guys. But this time he's covered in armor. Bullets aren't gonna work. And this is the point where I get incredibly frustrated at this game for the first time. I'm seemingly going the right way, but something didn't seem right. I ended up running minutes in the wrong direction. In this game, you frequently get to a locked door, press forward to the next area, and then get the key you needed. Then you backtrack to that door and progress through. So in this situation, I couldn't figure out where I needed to go. It seemed that I could need to backtrack a bunch, and maybe I was just missing something. But after 10 minutes of running in circles and eventually just looking up a let's play, I realized I just dropped down on the wrong side once the brute came out. What confused me is that after going the wrong way, I ran into more enemies, which made me think I needed to backtrack. I can't tell you how mad this made me. And I know you're probably sitting there like, don't blame the game because you're stupid, or mad because bad, but you frequently backtrack in this game. And situations like this where I don't know where to go and then I need to stop and pull up a video because I couldn't figure it out really annoys the hell out of me. It just ruins the flow. And admittedly, the reason this never happened to me in Dead Space was because you literally had a where do I go button that literally lights up a path to your objective. The thing is, I don't think RE4 needs that. I like the idea of the game not holding your hand the way modern games tend to do. And I'm sure most people watching this have played this game 10 times over and think it's obvious that I was going the wrong way. But as a first time player with almost no Resident Evil experience, situations like this happen more than I'd like to admit. And whether it's my fault or the game's fault, it still takes away from my enjoyment of the game. So I finally went the right way and found another cannon. Guns won't work, but a cannon will. We send it right through his eyeball. Another brute down. We take out some stragglers and we realize we need to shoot the cannon to break down the castle door again. We knock it down and on our way in, the brute pops up for one last gasp of breath. We slip away and find Ashley just hanging out in the castle. She's a little upset she's turning into a zombie, but we comfort her by showing her that we're both infected. Oh yeah, I feel way better now that we're both gonna die. We crack a little joke and it lands. We're totally gonna smash the president's daughter, right? The next chapter starts with us calling Luis to find out why he never met us in the courtyard. He doesn't really explain himself, he just antagonizes us and says he's waiting in the ballroom past the courtyard. That wasn't the meeting spot, bud. We maneuver through this labyrinth of a garden and get jumped by infected doges as we try and get the door to the ballroom open. As soon as we do, we get ambushed again, but luckily Ashley doesn't get stolen away this time. In the ballroom, we immediately walk into a statue that looks like it has 3 heads missing, and we're off on another scav mission. I swear this game is as much a treasure hunt as a survival horror game. Ashley suggests we put on some armor, and when we refuse, she says we'd look pretty dashing. We are definitely gonna smash the president's daughter. We grab the first head, which wakes up the sleeping knights from their slumber. The armor is annoying because it only leaves a tiny little hitbox for these enemies in the neck, but Ashley drops a lantern and we learn that the blue light freezes them up. I wonder if that'll be important later. We finish off the last knight and help Ashley down so we can open the exit door. For the next head, we need to figure out how to open the case. We have 2 pictures on the wall and need to be in the right seats when we ring the bell. I spent way longer than I'd like to admit playing musical chairs before I finally got it right, but I didn't have to resort to looking up the answer. Not sure if that makes me smart for figuring it out on my own or a dumbass for wasting my time, but either way, we only have one more to find. The last one should have been the simplest. No puzzle, but I had to take out some enemies. But this took me the longest by far. For one, it was probably my 4th and final attempt where I realized I needed to take out the goat head first to stop him from popping everyone's head off and making them much more difficult enemies. If I wasn't getting one shot by these guys, I was distracted enough for Ashley to be taken, and then I'd frantically shoot her trying to save her. Sorry girl, this gun goes off for like no reason at all. It's times like these that the feeling of the controls annoys me. I'm trying to keep enemies off Ashley, keeping enemies off myself, and shooting and running from the insta-kill enemies. Then I'm trying to hit a running target to stop them from taking Ashley and having to avoid killing her in the process. This game can feel really hectic at times, and failing and having to restart a handful of times gets my blood boiling. But like I said, I eventually realized I need to take the goat head out first, and then I wiped the rest of the infected in like 30 seconds. I spent 15 minutes failing miserably, and then the time I beat it, I was like, wow, that was so easy. It goes to show how people can play the same game and have drastically different experiences. Just a little trial and error to figure it out. So we grab the last head and throw it on the statue. A door opens and, come on. We tell Ashley to run and do what we can while locked in this cage. Meet me in the octagon, bro. Ashley locks the door behind her and wow. I did not expect to play as Ashley in this game. We grab a little lantern and start fumbling our way through the castle. We find a clock that we seemingly need to set to a specific time, but we don't know what time yet, so I guess we'll keep it moving. We find a hidden staircase, grab a bunch of keys, and it looks like the knights are waking up. Now this is the butt-puckering tension I've been looking for. I have no way to attack the knights playing as Ashley. I'm sneaking around in the dark with this tiny lantern and my only choice is to run. Remember the blue light from the lantern earlier? Well, it freezes the knights if you shine it at them, but if you run into one unprepared, you're dead. We need to use one of the 4 keys to open the elevator, so we need time to find the right one. But the light only temporarily freezes the knights. So you can see how this creates tension. We make it on the elevator and take it on up. But we're not done yet. We see Leon but need to figure out how to get to him. There's another clock, but this time there's a note nearby telling us what time to use. Bingo. Now we have to make it to the other clock. We use our flashlight in self-defense and oh my god, this section got my juices flowing. I feel like I'm an inch away from death around every corner. I hear the knights walking behind me and I run as fast as I can. Ashley telling herself not to look back. I make it to the clock and just pray I can spin it to 11:04 in time. I open the door, sprint down the stairs, and shine my light up the stairway as I wait for the elevator. The bottom of the elevator isn't much better. We have to ring all the bells to open the gate, but each bell wakes up more knights. I can't see a damn thing. Ashley's screaming, and I just feel so helpless. I am absolutely loving this part of the game. I make one wrong turn after getting the door open and get to do it all over again. This time I group them all up after opening the door and make a run for it. We get to the bottom and just have one little puzzle before we get the key we need. The knights wake up and the lanterns go out, so it's time to book it. We backtrack all the way to the top and now we can free Leon. Wow, I can't explain how much I loved playing as Ashley. It was everything I was hoping this game would be. I was genuinely so scared of the dark, with nothing but a light to defend myself. But knowing I had to do what I had to do to get Leon out of the octagon. This was by far my favorite mission at this point. And that's not to say it's the only part I liked. I've largely enjoyed the game so far. But Leon feels as much as a god as the bosses we fight at times. Playing as someone vulnerable in such a dangerous environment just made me actually feel like I was stuck in a terrible situation and I had the smallest chance at survival. I wasn't taking out hordes and hordes of enemies. Ashley was screaming, she was scared, I could feel in my chest each step that the knights took as they chased me down from behind.
What now? Don't look back! Don't look back! Come on! Come on! This sucks! Stay away!
That was incredible. So the gate we opened led us to the balcony above Leon. We find the key for the door down there and toss it down to him. And then we get away scot-free, right? Oh, not again. Ashley gets kidnapped and we find ourselves back at square one for the third time. We jump to a cutscene of Ada on the phone with someone asking for the amber. She mentions her little helper, and I'm not sure if she's referring to Leon or Luis, who we learned is helping her to get the amber. I didn't get much from the conversation, but I guess now we know Ada is working for someone? She spots the big scary thing carrying Ashley away, and I guess that reminds her to give Leon a call. She drops us a hint that they're heading to the throne room, and we can finally head through the door we unlocked forever ago. We have our first run-in with these annoying critters, and there's plenty more where that came from. After taking out what feels like an entire hive of these things, we unlock the gate blocking our path. We shoot down the bridge and, oh no, not this again. There's two? This part took me quite a few tries. Stealth has never been my forte, and trying to sneak behind the blind guys quietly while having to deal with all the normal infected really caused me some trouble. At least I'm really feeling the tension this time around. Holy hot dog, these dudes were tough. But eventually I'd just crawl around and snipe the worms in their back from a distance. I'd bait them into taking out the regular infected, and if I got up close I'd put a shotty shell in their back. Once there was one left I was able to just stab the worm and finally get past this part. We turn horses into unicorns and walk in on some sort of ritual. They make Ashley drink something, probably blood, and we get yeeted down a hole. Now that is some main character grip strength. We have to fight our way through a cave, and I like what they're going for here. There aren't a ton of enemies, you're mostly fighting the new bug enemy. It hides underwater and you can see its glowing green eyes as they come at you. I like the suspense of not knowing where they're going to come from. One enemy at a time, just stalking you. Give me more of this, please. Unfortunately, this is pretty short-lived as we climb up a ladder into the sewers. We spot some emergency liquid nitrogen showers, I wonder what those will be for, and we need to find a way to power up the elevator. Something's down here with us, and we play some hide and seek as we try to get the power back on. After we flip the switch, he's done hiding and we try utilizing those showers. I get him a couple times but actually hop on the elevator without killing him. I thought that just meant I'd run into him later, but I guess you can just avoid killing this boss. The infection flares up and we get a message from the Pope. He tells some guy from the older games to hunt us down, and at the top, we finally run into Luis. Where have you been, hermano? Well, I guess it was worth the wait, because he had some drugs to suppress the effects of the infection for a bit, buying us some time before we can take care of it for good. Still won't tell us why he's helping us though. Maybe he's gonna double cross us at some point. We call him out for working for Umbrella and says he's helping to make amends or something like that. Bro, you either are or you aren't. Say it with your chest. We hit a dead end and hit a detour to find some TNT. A bunch of dead infected later and we're ready to blow a hole in this bitch. Well, that's not how I saw that going. Clear our path without killing ourselves this time, but it leads us right to this guy again. And this time he brought a friend. Time for a double boss fight. This one really wasn't that tough since someone inexplicably left the gate controls on above the boiling lava. After shooting the first guy's worm, he falls to his knees and you just open the hatch. One down. The next one's a little harder, but you just need to survive while Luis runs to grab some dynamite. We blow it up on its back and send the armored giant to burn in hell. The next section is a nice little change of pace. We go on a joyride in a mining cart. This part has us leaning the cart left or right to avoid flipping it over, shooting bars to clear the path or turnstiles to change the direction of the track, and taking out enemies that are trying to destroy the cart. You even hit a few jumps on the way. There's a stopping point in the middle where you get out and fight some enemies to break up the cart action, and then you're right back in there before topping it off with a crash landing. We fight our way through the mine, fending off the big flies that are camouflaged around the area. We eventually make it to the elevator and have a little talk with Luis. He finally seems to open up about working for Los Iluminados, as he calls them, and he's helping us because he doesn't want anyone to get hurt. It feels pretty genuine. Maybe he isn't going to double-cross us. Well, that was short-lived. Just as I thought we were going to be friends, Hermano catches a blade in the back by Major Krauser. This is obviously supposed to be a mind-blowing moment, since he clearly has a history with Leon. But I don't know who he is, so I'm just like, whatever. He takes something off Luis's body, probably the amber he's been searching for, and we agree to duke it out knives only. After a little hack, slash, and parry, it seems like we're about to lose before Luis breaks our gentleman's agreement and brings a gun to a knife fight. It doesn't kill the Major, but I guess he was bored because he just decides to leave. Unfortunately, the knife wound to Luis was incurable. I don't know why he didn't just use some first aid spray. But before he goes, he hands us a key to his lab and tells us to go there to remove the parasites. A permanent cure. And then we light his last cigarette. Full circle from our first interaction when he was tied up and asked for a smoke. How wholesome. It sucks I was finally warming up to this guy. It finally seemed like he was actually on our side and then just got ripped right out of our lives. We bid our farewells and take the elevator up again. Ada calls to keep us company on the ride to let us know Ashley was taken to the clock tower, and we take the closest ferry over there. We're greeted by Ramon, but he tells his lackeys to deal with us and then leaves. That was a poor choice. We make quick work of them and start our ascension up the tower. They have some fire-breathing statues we have to maneuver through and start rolling spiked boulders down the stairs at us. But once we get to the top, it's our turn to use their toy. We jump on another lift and have to defend it while enemies jump down at us from above. After a few waves of that, we're finally at the top and the clock strikes midnight. We pull out our telescope to spot them taking Ashley inside and foolishly sprint after her on this rinky-dink scaffolding. Well, this time we walk slowly and carefully and barge in on Ramon handing Ashley off to Major Dickhead. Ramon starts his villain speech and we hilariously just shoot him on the spot. I love this out of Leon. Too bad our kill shot wasn't actually a kill shot, because he comes back as a fetus? There's probably a joke in here somewhere about being reborn, but I have a boss to battle. This was by far the hardest and most frustrating boss battle so far. You need to avoid his little acid attack and then shoot the eye in his head enough that you can run up and stab it. But I was just having a hard time doing it consistently without taking a ton of damage and dying. I couldn't go up top because there was just no cover at all. So I tried cheesing the pillar by the stairs, but for whatever reason this boss battle made the controls feel so clunky and unresponsive. The timing of the acid shot was throwing me off too because it comes a second later than the sound cues would lead you to believe, and I kept running into the acid after I thought he was done shooting. I just died over and over and over. Maybe I was just mad 'cause bad, but I did not enjoy this boss fight. And once I finally got him, I was like, thank God that's over. But anyway, gotta catch up to Ashley. We take the lift down and see Krauser leaving on a boat with her. We find a boat of our own, but where are the keys? Oh, fancy meeting you here. At least she offers to drive. We break the silence by bringing up Raccoon City. Trying to save one person leads to 100 others dying. And Leon says since then he's changed. Ada just scoffs at the idea of Leon changing. Damn, what the hell, Ada? People can change? Luis changed? Did you change? Are you just using me again? I must be missing context from previous games because I have no idea what's going on in this cutscene. But I feel you, Leon. Girls are always just trying to use me for my good looks. Ada grapples into the sky and out of our life, just like every girl we've ever loved. But we made it to the island and this place is heavily fortified with some sort of laser death machines and spotlights. It seems like I'm supposed to be stealthy here, but you know how that goes. I decided to let them kill me and give stealth another go. I made it a little further this time, but I decided it was just easier to go loud. They can only get to me up the one ladder from here, so I funneled all my targets and take them all out. Now for the hardest part, trying to figure out how to get in this place. Well, you definitely can't run through the lasers, so I do it all again, but this time I spend an ungodly amount of time moving the turrets and running back and forth before I figured out how to get to the door. Like 8 minutes of this. At least I can take my frustrations out on these guys. But little did I know this was just the start of my frustrations. We spot our first rocket guy and try baiting him into some team kills. Once they're dealt with, we open the doors to more cave. We push on and it eventually leads to some sort of facility where they're holding Ashley. But we need a keycard to get to her. And not just one keycard, 3 keycards. And I'm running low on ammo. I don't like how this is going. This place is a damn maze, but I finally think I'm going the right way. The lights go out and we spot something scary in the distance. The power's out again, but at least the switch to turn it on is right over here. We raise the gate, but then need to recalibrate the power to get this door open. The first time I looked at this thing, I had no idea what I was doing, just spamming buttons hoping it would work. But once I realized what I needed to do, it was fairly easy. For whatever reason, the level 1 keycard was locked in here. But on our way out, we're met with a new enemy type. These guys are so annoying to fight. With this being my first encounter, I shot the glowy bits in the chest, but it just kept coming back. It seemed like eventually enough bullets finally took it down. Unfortunately, I used a lot of ammo in the process. Ammo I couldn't afford to lose. So we used the level 1 keycard to get into the freezer, but we need to reroute the power again. I struggled my way through it on my own and then realized I didn't even need to go in here. Well, not for the keycard, but the new weapon helps just because it gives me a little more ammo. We try getting the level 2 keycard and another one of these things shows up. I literally try grabbing the keycard and running for it, but that wasn't working. I end up scavenging enough ammo to weaken it and then just go full on hash-slinging slasher on his ass. I am not enjoying this section. I didn't know what I was doing wrong, but these guys take a ton of shots to kill and it didn't seem like I was able to find enough ammo to replace what I was using. Having to resort to the knife sucks, man. But I guess we're okay for now. I use the level 2 keycard to get to the next area and I'm hoping to just stealth kill these guys. Too bad I'm the worst stealth player in all of existence. I end up running out of knives and just have no idea what to do. What did I do to deserve this? I was really starting to get mad here. I know the point of the game is to manage resources and you're always supposed to just have enough ammo, but I don't know what I did that was so wrong that got me here. Well, I guess for starters I missed this ammo crate. 10 bullets was enough to kill this guy. We move on to the next section and here's where I start to lose it. So to get the level 3 keycard, we need a wrench to get this thing working for some reason. I look on the table for a wrench and grab some scope, finish looting the room, and then don't really know where to go next. I'm checking the map for something I might have missed and just start backtracking. Eventually I gave up and looked up what I had to do. Never in a million years would I have put that scope on a gun and checked inside the guys in the tube to find the wrench. I think without the internet my playthrough would have stopped right here. I was irrationally angry at this. And it gets worse now that I have to fight 3 of these things with little ammo and grenades don't do a damn thing and god damn it, dude. Can't wait to try and do this again. Oh my god, was it really that easy? I don't know if I'm just a grumpy old man or what, but I was infuriated at this point. But it's funny looking back at how someone else's first experience could have been what just happened here, and is probably sitting there like, dude, you suck, that was so easy. While I was over here about to have an aneurysm. Well, we get the stupid key card for the 3rd time and have to fight our way all the way back up to Ashley's holding cell. We open the gate and give her a little jab, but before she wakes up, it seems like our infection starts flaring up again. So I guess we decide to sit down and do nothing until Ashley wakes up. When she does, she asks where Luis is. Too soon, girl. Too soon. We call into Ada to see if she can point us to Luis's lab and tells us it's in their sanctuary at the top of the mountain. It's never easy, is it? Ashley helps us tag team this door, wow I missed you, and grabs some upgrades on our way. We take out some guards, continue our climb, and eventually end up in sewage again. We run into a door that requires us to time the switch with Ashley, and we struggle to get on the same page here. I guess all that time she spent captured ruined our chemistry. We stuff her in a locker when another one of these guys shows up. And just when I thought we took it out, he does this for the first time. I didn't think they could make these infected any more annoying. After you'd normally kill them, they now come back up covered in spikes with one last glowy bit in their head. And when you finally take it down, it goes all pufferfish and shoots its spikes out. I hate these things. So we get to the next room and you guessed it, the power's out. For some reason, the contractors built a bridge that needs to be manually cranked up and then held up. So naturally, I make someone else do it so I can go turn on the power. But obviously, everyone notices and now I need to defend Ashley while stuck behind bars. And another one of these guys joins in on the fun. I again got really frustrated at this part. Trying to deal with the pufferfish while trying to make sure Ashley doesn't get taken. Just when you think you're about to save the day, and of course my sniper isn't reloaded. She's been taken like 6 times, why does this one mean game over all of a sudden? The amount of times I killed Ashley trying to stop her from being taken was absolutely ridiculous. Eventually I realized if I didn't go to the left it wouldn't spawn the puffer, so I was able to focus on everyone on her side before dealing with that big boy. Oh, just kidding, it spawned another one on her side. Are you kidding me? It's funny watching it back now, but in the moment I was so mad. Just sitting there like, screw this game, I can't wait to be done this mission. I resorted to trying to shoot the carriers in the legs to avoid friendly fire. God damn it! The time I finally beat it, I still almost lost Ashley, and I had to pop this guy with the spikes. I had the bioscope on my SMG, but it swayed so much, making it hard to hit the precise shots I needed, really adding to my frustration. We do the power minigame again and hit a wall. Literally. Ashley does her best Miley Cyrus impression while I defend the machinery. We knock down the wall and take the lift up. Almost at the top now. We find the Amber Luis was talking about and the Pope sneaks up on us. He reveals that he's actually Lord Voldemort, and we take a shot at him since I forgot my wand at home. He didn't like that, so he uses his mind control to try and make Ashley shoot us with our own gun. But through sheer will and determination, she's able to resist. But she wasn't able to resist walking away with him? Are you serious? We lost her again? You had one job, Leon. So we chase after them, but we get stopped by Major Dickhead again. We have a conversation way over my head about the past, and we have Major Boss Fight V2. This time we can use our guns at least. We make our way through some sort of maze, mixed with ambushes and traps. This goes on for a while, but once we get to the end, Krauser hits his final form, anime style. This was another battle that I couldn't seem to figure out. I died so many times. Sometimes he kicked me off the edge, sometimes I ran out of heals and he crushed my skull, but one time he just decided to die. We finish him off with a knife in the heart, and we cross the bridge to hopefully get Ashley back for the last time. As we push forward, we get something we aren't used to. Help! Man, it only took the entire game to get some air support. Thanks, Mike. I'm not sure who he is, if he's part of the military or just some random guy that shows up. But it's nice to know the world isn't entirely on just my shoulders. The gunner from the sky honestly made this part pretty easy. But it was nice to cruise by for a bit. He clears the path for a while until the infected put up some anti-air defenses. Back to being a lone wolf. I wipe all the enemies, but then I couldn't figure out how to destroy the AA cannon. I go through the building it's on top of and don't find any way to shut it down. I waste 5 minutes walking around and was about to give up and look it up until... No way you just shoot it, right? Are you kidding? I tried that earlier, but I guess I just gave up too early. As you can see, it was smoking from the damage I did. But who knows with this game. Mike is now free to come back and he's back with a vengeance. And then he just leaves in the lamest way possible. Out of ammo? Really, bro, you didn't plan for this? I guess I had the same problem earlier, so I can't judge. But I would have appreciated you sticking around, Mike. So we take the rest of the guys out ourselves and climb towards the summit. Oh, Mike, you're back. What's up, bud? Gonna give me a ride? Aw, shucks, I appreciate it. And who didn't see that coming? R.I.P. Mike, he was a real one. At least he went down in a burst of flames. Made a great entrance for this guy. We avenge Mike and are officially in the whatever you call this place. There's a bunch of punching bags hanging, and every once in a while these miserable guys drop. Now by the time I got to this part, I was pretty sour on fighting these guys. I did the last 4 chapters all in one sitting, and I was just so salty at how the game had been going. I feel like I should have really liked this part. There's a ton of bags that the enemies could come from, creating suspense. And the hanging bags create low visibility, making it hard to see where it's at, and makes it nearly impossible to hit precise shots on the vital organs with the biometric scope. I feel like that's what I've been looking for. Tense moments created by the environment, not hordes of enemies. But I absolutely despised this part. I hate fighting these guys. Not in a they're dangerous or scary kind of way, in a they make me miserable and I can't wait for this to be over kind of way. The second one I had to resort to using the SMG again, and it's just so inaccurate with that scope up close while this thing was sprinting at me. This section seems like it would check all the boxes of something I'd enjoy, but it just made me irrationally angry. Maybe it doesn't make sense, but it's just how I felt when playing this part. But we keep marching forward. We kill a ton more enemies, a boarhead shows up, and then we enter what I'm praying is actually the building Ashley is in. Oh cool, she's just taking a nap on the altar. Oh no, who could have known Sadler was waiting for us to show up? It seems like he's about to make us fully turn until Ada shows up and starts spraying some lead. Wow, she's a good shot. We have a good old walk really slow to our objectives section as we make our way to Luis's lab. We get there and purge the infection from Ashley. It doesn't take too long, but just as the mission is a success, we faint. I hope Leon doesn't die here. Oh goody, we wake up in the chair. Ashley saved the day. Oh my god, look at that hug. She missed us. We're totally gonna smash the president's daughter. We're both safe from La Plaga, and we even find an escape map in the lab. Shout out Luis for curing us and planning our escape. People do change, hermano. So we follow the escape route, and as we get outside, we see Ada all tied up. We shoot her down, but it was just bait so Sadler could transform into the human centipede and we could have our final boss fight. Just as we were right at the end, I run into my longest battle yet. It took me a bit to figure this guy out. You need to shoot all the eyeballs on his legs until he goes down, and then you can stab his actual eyeball. Rinse and repeat 4 or 5 times. While you do that, you have to avoid his melee attacks, acid attacks, and eventually he starts calling in the big flies. And as you progress, he'll take out parts of the bridge so you have much less space to work with. One time he even took out the bridge while I was on it and I just fell to my death. The biggest problem was trying to hit the eyeballs on the hind legs since they would be blocked by his body. I would usually take too long and just run out of heals. It was a grueling battle, but I guess that's fit for the final boss. I didn't hate this fight overall, but it wasn't my favorite either. Eventually we get that last eyeball stab and Sadler has his final stand. We shoot the fetus a ton and then Ada tosses us a rocket launcher. Hell yeah, Ada, and shoot our shot before stabbing him one last time. I guess it was a fair trade since she swoops in and takes the amber, and then flies away and out of our life. At least she leaves us the keys to the jet ski. We finish off with a timed escape sequence where we just run in mostly a straight line to the jet ski and then hit some sick jumps on our way out. What is this, Mission Impossible? I say that as someone who's never seen a Mission Impossible movie. But we escape in time and then I guess we ride a jet ski across the ocean? Hopefully someone scoops us along the way. The credits roll and we get one last post-credit scene. Ada has the amber and calls the person who requested it. Oh wow, I know this guy! It's Mr. Whisker from Resident Evil 5! The first time I actually understood what was going on. It looks like Ada has a change of heart and decides not to give the amber to Whisker. But he ends up getting it somehow, right? Since the 5th game happens and all. And that's the end of Resident Evil 4. So let's start with the story since I don't think I have much to say on it. It seems a little ridiculous that they sent one lone man to take on an entire island of cultists by himself. But at the end of the day, it's just a video game. I didn't mind the story being based around saving the president's daughter. She was likable and actually became part of the team. But sheesh, did she get recaptured way too much. Like at the end of the day, the story was we showed up, grabbed Ashley, and got out. Obviously that wasn't long enough, so they were like, well, I guess after you get her, we'll just have her taken like, I don't know, 4 more times? And then the side plot of both of us getting infected and working with Luis to find a cure. The characters were all pretty good. I wish Luis didn't die as soon as it finally felt like he was a genuine friend. And Ada was a big help, even though it seems like we weren't really friends. It was kind of hard following the story since I hadn't played any of the previous games. And the one I did play had all different characters. But the story had enough of a plot to keep us moving to different areas and experiencing the gameplay. The gameplay is where I'm really torn. Like I said before, this game is nothing like what I was expecting. I thought I was about to play a survival horror game that influenced Dead Space. But this was much more of a zombie action game than anything else. I fought so many enemies that I couldn't possibly be scared of what's lurking around the corner. From the very beginning in the village to the very end, this game was much more about overwhelming you with enemies than trying to make you uneasy with suspense. That doesn't make it bad, but it does make it something I wasn't here for. I was looking for an experience similar to Dead Space, but what I got felt like a literal action movie. My favorite part of the game was when I played as Ashley. I have no idea if that's a popular or unpopular opinion, but it just really amped up the survival horror aspects of the game. I loved feeling vulnerable without any way to attack, just a lamp to defend myself. The tone was a lot more grounded and was checking all the right boxes for me. I genuinely loved that small section, and I wish the rest of the game shared more of those elements. But it did have similar gameplay elements to Dead Space. You're constantly scavenging for ammo and heals, you get an item drop for every enemy you kill, and the overall structure of the game was similar. The added part being the countless puzzles. Some of them were fun brain teasers, but some of them were just straight up annoying. It really kills my vibe when I'm playing and I need to pause the game to look up what to do next. It takes me out of it. Add that on top of the few times I got lost and went the wrong way, or did the right thing but didn't quite have it right, and this created times where I was so frustrated I just wanted to get off the game. Sure, you can say I'm just bad at the game or I'm dumb, and both could be valid criticisms, but it's just how I felt. I was getting legitimately angry at times, and at the end of the day, I play games for fun. Maybe the anger and frustration was irrational, but as a first-time player, that was my reaction to the situation. I know Resident Evil games are extremely replayable, and I genuinely think I would have a lot of fun going through multiple times, getting the infinite rocket launcher, and just having some arcadey fun. But after my first playthrough, I didn't like it enough to play it again. At least, not right now. Some people consider Resident Evil 4 their favorite game ever made, and while I do think it's good, I don't think it lived up to the hype. And that's it. I'm sorry I didn't absolutely love Resident Evil 4. But don't let me stop you from loving the game. We all experience things differently, and it's okay if you love it and I don't. Either way, if you stuck around, I really appreciate you watching till the end. Maybe consider dropping a like to help push the video out to more viewers. And subscribe for more videos like this. Not sure what I'll be playing next, but I'm planning a lot of videos for 2024 and beyond. I also stream on Twitch and have a Twitter I don't tweet on, links in the description if you want to check me out there. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Later.